Hi guys, and welcome, and thank you for tuning into this brief video. I wanted to address everybody via video as opposed to lengthy text and things like that, because I think it's far easier and effective for getting things across. I want to talk to you today about Space Cadets and to thank everybody for their ongoing support with Space Cadets, and I hope that those who are on it continue to enjoy it, and as it continues to host other Space Cadets as they go on it. However, I've been mindful of a while that it's needed a facelift, and we've needed to slightly change the format a little bit. So a lot of the modules there are very informative, and we've had good feedback on them. But I think, quite frankly, it's needed a little bit extra. So we've also given it a bit more of a descriptive thing. So we're now calling it Space Cadet Stargazer, and what it basically means is there'll be fewer modules which are going to be kind of the main sort of frame of it. Space Cadets Night Sky will be the first one, and Space Cadets Night Sky, which I think I've also called Stargazer, as which leads to the Stargazer badge at the end. But anyway, so we go over the night sky again, looking at the key constellations. Only this time, what we've done is we brought in a downloadable workbook. And the workbook contains questions and little snippets and little, did you know quizzes or snippets of information. And the idea is, kids, you'll download it, you'll print it, and then your Space Cadets will then use it to go through the module. And they'll have to go to the module to find the answers to the questions. And we're looking at constellations, we're looking at what the constellation names are, some of the star names, we're looking at what the objects are. And all the objects that we mention are objects that are easily visible through a pair of binoculars, the naked eye, or a small telescope. So they're all available, they're all visible in that range. And the constellations have been carefully picked because these are also easily recognisable. So we're going through the night sky, and there's going to be, as I said, there's a workbook there. Then we're going to be looking at meteors. And we'll be looking at what meteors are and discussing meteorites and some sort of famous meteorite craters that we have around the world. And there'll be a workbook as well to complement that. And then we'll be talking about the planets, because they're also part of the night sky. And then we'll be talking about what we can expect to see with a pair of binoculars and a small telescope, and how to recognise the planets as well. Some are more easy to recognise than others. And then we'll go on to talk about satellites, because they're part of the night sky as well. So maybe a little discussion about the International Space Station and those horrible Starlink satellites that are slowly but surely polluting our night sky. And then finally we'll end up with pollution, which is probably why I should have put Starlink. But what kids will end up with is an overall rounded knowledge. Oh, I forgot the moon gazer. Yeah, but that's another module. But what they'll end up with is an overall knowledge of the night sky. And you say, well, what about the moon? Well, the moon is in it, but we've given it its own module. So the moon's going to be all about identifying key parts of the moon, craters, the sea areas, and how these details change with the changing phases, which, believe it or not, is actually an observational task required for the GCSE astronomy. And we believe that a lot of the things we cover in this will be relevant to the GCSE. So if you get on with this, you'll probably handle the GCSE quite nicely afterwards. So we have got the Stargazer and we've got the Moon Gazer, which are two separate modules. Then we're going to be looking at space exploration. There's a lot going on there with Artemis. We are going to be going to talking about that. But at the moment, we've just been bringing up to date the story of Mercury, Gemini, and Apollo, and of course looking at the, how can you, but beyond the astronauts, Werner von Braun, who helped make that possible with his team, and we'll be looking at that, and then there will be other added as we go. So the idea is to bring all these in. Each will have the famous digital quiz at the end with a downloadable certificate after, and it will give kids that sense of achievement. And we're also trying to make it that whoever does it will also have the knowledge required to go and get their Stargazer badge from the Scouts or the Girl Guides. So we're looking at making sure that the content complements that as well. So that's where it's going. Whoever does it will get a nice rounded knowledge in astronomy for GCSE astronomy. The question everybody's going to ask is, which age group is it aimed at? Well, I've never really gone by age. I mean, I know people ask, oh, which age group is it relevant for? But I don't like to label it because, you know, it's a bit like the GCSE where it's 14 to 16-year-olds that sit it, but a lot younger can and do. And the Space Cadet Stargazer is a bit like that, because if you can read and write, you can do it. And I'm trying to pitch it that it's kind of relevant for all age groups, whether you're um, a parent trying to improve your knowledge to help your kids, a teacher who wants to learn more and gain more knowledge to teach their class, or indeed if you're a space cadet yourself, wanted to go on to do the GCSE and maybe even pursue a career in space, or even come onto our GCSE program and then go that way. Why not? So that's the overall intention and what we're doing. So when will all this be ready? Well, we are completing the Stargazer at the moment. We've just finished the night sky. We're starting meteorites, and then we're going to go on to the other topics discussed. And then, I think the space exploration's already there. I say I think because we started it and stopped, and I've got to go back to see where I left off. But I'm aiming to have this done certainly by about sort of Easter into the summer. And then, of course, there's some exciting changes taking place with the GCSE. But ultimately, the difference here is more interaction. It's not just about digital interactives and quizzes. It's more downloadables that kids can take, and more things relevant to what's going on in space today at the moment. So that's what we've tried to do, and that make it a bit more engaging, so they can download the workbook, log in, and basically follow through the workbook, complete the work group by going through the interactives and other material. Interactives don't just include the clicky things anymore. We do have a digital actual digital book you can flick through. We've got those. A couple of videos as well, because we know we all like videos. And that is ultimately where we are, what we're doing, and our intention. So hopefully it'll still be a subscribable service, because I'm looking to have ongoing bits. And there will be a group on Facebook where Space Cadets can join, and I'll be posting exclusive things in there that I find that could be of interest to you. Things I've made public up until now, but moving forward that they'll be put into that group, and you'll be kept up to date with things and be given first access to any other videos that I do moving forward. Sky Diaries as well. That'll be something that you'll get. So hopefully that will be of interest to you, and we look forward to welcoming you on board the program. In the meantime, thank you for watching, and look forward to seeing you there soon. Clear skies as always.